Hello and welcome to this webinar, Minimize Poor Quality Costs, How to Boost Your Brand and Business. This event, brought to you by Quality, is sponsored by ETQ. I'm your moderator, Michelle Bangert, Managing Editor of Quality Magazine. Thanks for joining us. Today's presenters are Jennifer Bianchini, Senior Product Marketing Manager at ETQ, and Wade McNabb, Vice President of Quality at Lixil International. Don't forget to submit your questions, and later in the program, our presenters will address as many as possible. Today's event is being recorded and archived on qualitymag.com. And now I'm excited to turn it over to today's first presenter, Jennifer Bianchini.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join us. We're so glad you're here. And we are also very happy to have Wade McNabb from Lixil join us. Welcome, Wade. So taking a quick look at the agenda, we'll cover, in the world of quality management, some of the factors that can make it complex. And then the ripple effect that poor quality can have across your organization. Then we'll touch on how a quality management system can help with setting standards to help get those quality costs down. Then Wade will share Lixil's story on how they were able to reduce the cost of poor quality and then grow quality across the organization. And then we'll do a quick wrap up so we have plenty of time to answer your questions, so don't be shy. Put those questions in the Q&A chat. This is your time for helping you to be a quality champion. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so let's start by taking a look at the bigger picture when it comes to some of the challenges that you may be facing in the world of quality. You'll see here a few common struggles that we've heard about from our conversations with manufacturers and our customers at ETQ. And this is regardless of where they are in their quality journey, or if they even have a quality management system. These are issues that they have experienced over time. So let's dig in here a little bit. Probably one of the biggest challenges that they've shared with us are the challenges they've experienced when it comes to reducing cost. This can be anything from defects, non-conformances, scrap, customer complaints, warranty costs, and so much more. They grapple with how to track it and quantify it to avoid creating a hidden factory of waste and inefficiencies. Then there is sharing information. How is data shared between systems, teams, locations, and the entire organization? How do you take the information that is in a file system or a SharePoint folder and move it to a centralized system so that it's easy and accessible to the people who need it to get their job done right the first time? So this next one, we've also heard a lot about this. The challenges people face when it comes to demonstrating compliance for either government agencies or their customers. What does it take to always be audit ready? You know you have an audit coming up, but how do you find all of the information that you are going to need to be prepared? How do you even know all of the information that you are going to need to pass an audit? Excuse me. And then there's suppliers. Suppliers can also contribute to the complex web of quality management. What do you have to do to have visibility into your suppliers? Are they complying with your requirements? If not, can you see those financial impacts of those lower quality products on your bottom line? Achieving visibility into those numbers can be quite cumbersome. And then, excuse me, and then rounding this up, when you are working with people, so you've got some folks on a team who might do things one way, and then you have a team that has a completely different set of processes. So how can you even ensure that everyone is following quality? You just can't. You can't ensure that everyone has the same standards. So let's move on to Next. Okay, there we go. Little bit of a lag there. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, so let's first level set and define what the cost of poor quality is. According to the American Society for Quality, it's the cost associated with providing poor quality products or services. So looking at it this way, it's the total for financial losses incurred by an organization due to errors and substandard work. So let's chip away at this. What exactly are these costs? Let's think about it with the classic iceberg image. We've all seen this before because it's a really good example of showing the difference between the visible cost and the hidden cost. The visible costs are transparent to everyone, from C-level to the shareholders to the public. And this is through either 10K reports, balance sheets, cash flow statements. People can see how, for example, your inventories are trending and so forth. But where the danger lurks is below the surface, the hidden costs. Do you know what the ripple effect is of a quality issue throughout your organization? Most folks don't. But let's think about it with this example. So do you know the impact when a non-conforming raw material holds up production? So what do? Do you know if you should order more material that is needed to compensate? Or do you hold off and do a late delivery to your customers? Or what if the product makes it to the market? So is your reputation and certifications, they could be at risk also. And then what does this mean for future opportunities? So now imagine all of these costs and issues accumulating over time because they're hidden, and the effect that this has on your organization's bottom line. So a general rule of thumb is that the cost of poor quality in a thriving organization can be about 10 to 15% of operations. But for some organizations, that can be as high as 40% of total operations. Okay, so now we have the foundations for a better understanding of the cost of poor quality. And we're all a little bit more familiar about the visible and hidden cost. But how do you, as a quality champion, begin to tackle this dilemma? Start with an electronic quality management system. It's a step in the right direction to help you get your costs down. When you have an EQMS, it provides a place for tracking all of the scrap, the waste, rework, customer complaints, warranty cost, everything. And it will help you to reduce field failures and preserve your brand, or even grow your brand. And just don't take our word for it. Talk to our customers. They shared with us, by participating in a research project with a third-party vendor, the value that they received from a quality management system. Part of the project was specifically looking at the value they saw when it came to reducing the cost of poor quality. We heard from our customers what they really saw, where they saw the true value when it came to bringing down costs associated with non-conforming material. And again, that's what we've been mentioning, the waste, the scrap, the rework. So they reported back a 10% reduction in field failure costs. That's pretty significant. And this all leads to improving your bottom line and your brand reputation. And don't forget, you are also preventing that creation of a hidden factory of waste and inefficiencies. So the other points you see here highlighted, they are other ROI drivers that our customers shared with us. These are real results that they received using a quality management system. So now I would like to turn it over to Wade.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Great to be here today with everyone. I'll try to take you through a journey we've been on for the last 2 years, give you what we've experienced at Lixil, and then hopefully give you some tips for how to help that or how to make that come forward in your own business. So first of all, a bit about me. I will admit that I am not a quality professional by degree. I would say I am one by experience. Started my career in aerospace, where I worked for a company known as Pratt & Whitney. We built jet engines for the F-22 fighter. Then I moved on to a software company with CAD and CAM and all the data management that went around that. Back in the old days, it was called Pro-E. Today it's called Creo. Company was PTC. One of my clients at PTC turned out to be American Standard, which was a precursor to Lixil. So been in the business here at Lixil, and about every 3.5 years, a new opportunity comes along where I change positions within the company. So I'm giving you this presentation as the Vice President of Quality, but now, in fact, I've moved on and I've tackled EHS, which will also get into some of the tools that ETQ offers. And I would really rather be flying. That's a huge hobby. So this is a 1961 de Havilland Beaver, and I would rather be there than almost any other place. But let me talk to you quickly about Lixil. So many of you will not recognize the company. Hopefully you'll recognize our brands. We trace our roots all the way back to the late 1800s with American Standard, where we go to market with that brand as well as the Groa brand. So we're in the products for kitchen and bath. So whenever you're thinking about renovating your home, please give us a shot. I think you'll like some of our products. Size of the company, few stats here on the screen, but long story short, this challenge that I'm about to present to you took place in the Americas and again over the last 2 years. So what is the warranty challenge? As it started, this was our executives enforcing on us the need to return to a point in time which was 2 years prior. So this is February of 23 when we're putting together our operational plans, and our CEO says, I need you to go back to where you were 2 years ago. The numbers were good then. They're not so great now. And this represented a huge challenge for us, which is why we've named it this. Inside the company, we refer to this as the warranty challenge. So how do we reduce warranty as one of the components of cost of poor quality? Well, the challenge was so large that we did not have the tools or the process or the standard ways of working just weren't going to accomplish what we needed to accomplish. So we had to come up with a new way of thinking. We had to come up with additional sets of data that wasn't exactly present for us at the time. So we needed to go develop and drive and find whatever data elements we needed, and then come up with traditional program management methodologies. So all that mixed together, and by March, so literally March of 23, 1 month later, we had put together what we believed we needed, put together a set of work streams which we needed to operate and achieve this massive target. So this is actually from one of the slides I presented to our execs back in 23. I just removed the numbers to protect the innocent. But what I'd like you to notice here is when you think about the cost of poor quality, when you think about warranty cost, maybe your first inclination is the product itself. Well, what we've learned is that, yes, some of it is the product or products which you bring to market. Additionally, we needed to take a close look at many of our processes and make adjustments to those as well. So on the screen today is the traditional funnel. And many of you have used this, whether you're talking new product development, many other ideas are best represented by a funnel. You want to put enough into the front end so that you're ensured you get a good result out of the back. So we combine this with simply a way of tracking the status of our projects. And this represented one of the foundational elements of what I refer to as the framework. how do we take a pipeline of projects, go through all the stages to verify that those corrective actions or those new projects will actually do what we need them to do to meet the target we have. We also needed a few other pieces in what I've referred to as the framework. So I mentioned a second ago the data element. I cannot stress this highly enough. We needed to take the data that we had and go even deeper, which meant take our traditional SAP data, slice and dice that. Take any quality data that we had, slice and dice that. And I will tell you, we have many, many dashboards and data elements to help us understand where things are. I alluded a second ago to the traditional project or program management framework. So in this case, we developed a scorecard using this pipeline. We are meeting on a weekly basis to review the scorecard, and we push out results on a monthly basis to our senior leadership team. And so from a tracking perspective, we're able to understand what a given project is delivering, versus what we expected it to deliver in terms of not only a pipeline number, but also a forecast when we believe maybe an engineering change comes into effect in our plants. By the time this change makes it out to the market, into our products, we'll actually see the change a few months later. So we're actually forecasting with a bit of a lag from the time we implement. We're also doing that with some of the process changes we've made. Now, you might imagine process changes take effect a bit more quickly than going all the way out to the market. So we built the framework. We've been executing this framework. We've refined it slightly. During this same time, our implementation of ETQ came live. So we've integrated many of the tools inside ETQ into the front end for our data analysis. And we're also doing some of the project tracking inside ETQ as well. But what is the overall result? Well, I'd love to be able to tell you we hit the target on the mark. We did really, really well. This was a hugely aggressive target. By changing the conversation around warranty, in other words, knowing it was such a massive target, knowing we needed a different way to work, everyone inside the company was involved. We came very, very close to the original target, but I wanted to give you some success factors. What did it really take to pull this off, to bring this together? The first thing I would say is a cross-functional team. And when I say cross-functional, I wanted to list every single person who was involved here, every single department who was involved here, so that you can fully understand this went across every function, collaboratively working together. This was something that I'm extremely proud of the way we work. And I've been in this business a long, long time. And this is one of the things that will be a highlight of my career, no doubt. Being able to work with talented people, being able to achieve a common goal. But the way we were able to do that, we had our leaders telling us, this is where you need to go in very simple terms. Here's the number you need to hit. And we took those numbers, we took a different approach to the way we work, and here we are. So the other thing I think that's important is the rhythm with which you execute. I alluded a second ago to the scorecard is reviewed weekly. Progress updates are made to the senior leadership monthly. So we maintain that rhythm. And that is a key to the way we operate. I will tell you that we had to realize that changes needed to happen quickly if we were going to see the savings. The forecasting in our tools allowed that to happen. And so I will tell you that overall, I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to do. And I was only able to give you a glimpse here in the few short minutes that we had because I wanted to save time for your questions. So with that, I'll turn this back over to Jennifer.
All right. Thank you, Wade, for sharing. You had some really great nuggets of information in there. And I think everyone got some really great tips, especially how collaboration is key for success. So now I'd like to share a little bit about ETQ with you. As I'm sure you all are aware there are a lot of different phases in the quality management journey. But no matter where you are in your journey, ETQ, we are ready to help you. We have a comprehensive purpose-built EQMS where you can reduce cost, streamline operations, and build compliance into your processes that result in improved efficiency, time to market, sustainability, and bottom line results. We also offer a range of professional services, including managed services, to meet your needs at any stage of your quality journey. And as you can see here with ETQ, you are in great company. We serve hundreds of customers of all shapes and sizes across all industries. And we apply learnings and best practices from all of these different unique customers across all of these industries so that everyone has a unique offering of ours to help them with their quality journey. And it's applied to all of our customers. And for over 30 years, ETQ has been empowering quality champions like you to use quality management as a catalyst for business success. And we also aim to be a trusted advisor to our customers. And we'd love to have the opportunity to share our expertise and help you. Also, we are a part of Hexagon, a global leader in sensor software and autonomous manufacturing solutions. Okay, so thank you very much for letting me share that with you a little bit more about ETQ. And we have now reached the point of our webinar for the Q&A session. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you both for a great presentation. Before we have our presenters address some questions that have been submitted throughout the program, I want to remind you that we'd love your feedback in our webinar survey to help improve our programs. So now let's go to our first question. This one is for Wade. Do you have any lessons learned you'd like to share with us or advice for someone out there who is evaluating a QMS to help grow the value of quality?
I do, actually. So I mentioned we had our implementation come online during this warranty challenge. One of the key things that we were doing at that time was also benchmarking. So there's several solutions out there. Definitely, you should find the one that works best for you. But also the key thing that we were able to put together to justify the purchase was the business case. So where did we see the savings? What did we intend to do with the system? So we were very specific in the business problems that we would attack. We were adamant that we wanted our suppliers to be inside the system with us so we could drive supplier quality. We want to be able to drive field quality. That's another term for the after sales quality. And then we also had a focus on manufacturing quality. So we were able to divide and define the scope very, very crisply along with the business conditions that which we believe we would reach as we implemented the system. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that sounds great. And the next one, can you elaborate how the hypothesis was tested or the pilot run was implemented?
Sure. So we were very narrow in the scope for what we would go live with, and we phased the implementation. We did have our own ideas about what such phasing would look like, but we did have the great help of ETQ's implementation services team to walk us through, hold our hand, guide us along the way. So that was hugely helpful. But we did have a very, very narrow scope of functionality which we chose to go live. So that helped us greatly simplify the implementation. And then we continued to add over time.
Sounds good. Okay, we have another question here. For you, Wade, how did your organization go about the process of defining the value of quality? What steps were taken by the organization, i.e. finance, quality, engineering, R&D, etc.?
We started it from the quality side with what we believed we would see in terms of reducing the cost of poor quality. We had a tremendous amount of manual efforts occurring to do simple things like reporting. We put a value on reporting. We put a value on the different challenges that we were seeing and the time to resolve those challenges. So those were all things that came into the business case. And that business case was proposed, but then vetted by our finance partners, by our operations team, and then all the way up to the CEO. So we had the attention of everyone we needed in the organization to convince them that we needed quality tools. And that was a big, I guess, a big analogy that I would draw. Many mechanics have many tools in a big toolbox. We needed the quality tools to do our job. And we made that case, and then we were able to move forward with ETQ.
Sounds good. So along those lines, another question for you. Do you mind sharing with the audience the benefits you've received from implementing a flexible quality management system, such as ETQ Reliance, in relation to the value of quality?
Sure. I would say there are many. And seeing these questions for the first time, I'll try to give you my immediate reaction. Visibility. So in other words, how do we see all the different aspects of cost related to quality? How do we see the improvements that we're making? How do we see the problems that are occurring in the field? How do we get a timely response? How do we get a rapid response? How do we get a thorough response? So we've been able to measure all these. And when you're coming from a place where you did not have such visibility, I would say that's one key factor. The other thing is we've cut out much of the work that we were doing that was non-value added work. So the time to capture a problem, the time to communicate a problem, all those things are gone because we put the problem, the issue, the resolution, root cause analysis, all that in one spot where anyone in the company can go in and see it. So visibility and speed, I would say, are the two big areas where we've seen the most benefit in the shortest time.
Sounds good. Okay, we have another question just came in. How is the value of reporting quantified?
Well, the simple answer is you can look at the number of people and the amount of those people's time that you could take away from just creating reports. Then if you imagine that as soon as the report comes out, it's outdated. So how do I have a live system where I can get the results immediately and I did not have to ask someone to download something from Excel and build a report for me and show me a chart? All that's live in the system. So from a timing or a timely standpoint, I think you must put a value on the ability to see things immediately. And then just the age-old, how many people are working on it and how much of their time is it really taking? So part of that is hard dollars and part of it is soft dollars.
Sounds good. And then we have another question for you. Did you already have a quality management system in place or did you need to implement one? And if you already had one, what did that harmonization journey look like? If you needed to implement a QMS, what did that journey look like?
So I would tell you that we had a system we were using. That system did not live up to our expectations, and so we had to make the call to unplug it, actually go manual for a bit until we could bring the new system live. We do have other integrations planned into our ERP system. We have not done that yet because at the same time, we also have an ERP implementation underway. So those two systems came up independently with the idea and the discussion of how to integrate them. And now the next step will be to actually do the integration. But we're running today without a fully integrated system, and we're still seeing the benefits of that. So I think you need to put the value on the system itself, the EQMS, and then you need to put the value on the integration because they are separate or independent.
Sounds good. Okay, I think that's all the time we have today for questions, but please thank me in joining Jennifer Bianchini and Wade McNabb for their presentation, as well as our sponsor, ETQ. If you have any additional questions or comments, please don't hesitate to click the Email Us button on the console. Please visit qualitymag.com/webinars for the archive of this presentation, as well as information about our upcoming events. We appreciate your time and hope you found this webinar to be a valuable experience. Have a great day.